move on to our little halftime chat, as we do every week, and discuss the worst case scenario. Let's discuss what if Kilmarnock did and find themselves getting relegated out of the Scottish Premiership. I mean, it's not impossible. 8 defeats in a row, 7 without a goal. At the minute on course for 9. 1-0 down here at half-time against Dundee United. If they went down, Adam, you want to discuss the pros and cons of relegation, but I really don't see any pros. I think it's all a bit sad and downhill. This video's not going to be great, folks. It's a bit bleak.
Yeah, no, it's just realistic, isn't it? I mean, yeah, people say, people when we're not under threat of relegation, people like to go, oh, it'd be all right to get relegated because you get to play different teams, go to different grounds, and that is true. We've been in the top flight for a long time, and going to Celtic and Rangers and Motherwell and stuff can get tedious and whatnot. And it would be nice to see different places, the likes of Arbroath, and go back to Dunfermline, to Partick, Falkirk, Inverness, places like that we've not been maybe even at all, or certainly for a number of years. But in all honesty, that really pales in comparison to the massive number of negatives that come with being relegated. We've got such a big operation here with so many employees in relation to teams in the Championship like Arbroath and whatnot. So we've got to sustain. There's no way we can sustain that large an operation with the number of employees that the club has on the kind of figures or the kind of money that we'd be getting playing in the Championship.
I mean, obviously we're scraping the barrel for positives here. Yes, the idea of going to different grounds, different stadiums, will appeal to fans if we're in the ground. Hopefully, come then. If it ends in this, obviously none of it, just to be clear, we do not want to be relegated. It's an absolute disaster. But I mean, from a positive point of view, there's that. The other positive is there would be a lot of players out of contract, and we wouldn't be tied down to paying people on high contracts, high wages, while in the Championship where you get lower income. That's the only other positive I can think out of this, and you'd be able to build another team. But there's so many negatives about it. It's not great.
I mean, we've been talking all season about the fact that we've only got 4 or 5 players actually under contract beyond the summer. Mm-hmm. But if we get relegated, then that's actually going to become a massive positive because, as you say, we'll be able to start afresh. Maybe we'll be able to re-sign the players just on lower wages, or be able to get rid of players that perhaps are on massive wages and that aren't sustainable playing in the Championship. But apart from that, just the impact they'll have on the club will be huge.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just so difficult to think of positives, but I'd say they are the two things. As a fan, yes, you can go to the games, different stadiums, and of course, as you said, regarding the contract situation. But again, that can also work as a negative because it's going to be so much more difficult to attract the level of player Kilmarnock will be looking for if you've already lost the players that were in the Premiership beforehand. But again, a lot of them are showing that they're not up to it anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
But let's look at the negative sides of it then. I mean, there's an endless list, really. Your 28-year stay in the top flight. Our generation has never seen Kilmarnock outside the top flight.
Yeah.
A lot of the pride, the hurt that you'd feel from that would be awful, wouldn't it? Really, just for that alone, just to see the club drop down so soon into the Championship after the highs that we had under Steve Clarke just a couple of years ago. It's incredible to think, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It just goes to show, as you say, how far we've fallen in such little time. I have got another positive for you, though.
Oh, great! Woo!
Well, perhaps Ayrshire derbies back again on a regular basis, although Ayr United not doing so well at the minute, and could perhaps get relegated themselves, which would be pretty ironic
for me,
given the fact that that's what we've wanted for quite a long time. It wouldn't happen.
I'm just going to expel the Ayrshire derby thing right now because, for me, I like the rarity of the Ayrshire derby, of the cup and things like that. We're a much bigger club than Ayr United. We should not be in that Championship playing against Ayr United every week. For me, it's embarrassing. I don't see it as a positive to be playing them every week. I think it's embarrassing to be sitting playing them every week. And then what if they beat us?
I don't. Well, based on this team, yes, that would be pretty apparent. But yeah,
I mean, it's apparent that you're kind of half full kind of guy. I'm half empty with a glass. Worrying times ahead, but hopefully, the next 45 minutes, boys can go out there, turn it around, and get a result. Because the first half, we've actually been okay. Without creating that much, the United have kind of stung us in the break. So hopefully we can turn it around and sort the season out. But Adam, I don't see many other positives. What other negatives do you think of? What do you think?
You see Hearts, going down last season, they've pretty much, ran the championship this season. There's no doubt that they're going to come back up.
Full pace as
yeah,
well.
There's absolutely no guarantee that if we went down, we would come straight back up. Absolutely none. You see what's happened to Partick Thistle, to, Falkirk. They are so far down now, and there's no guarantee that couldn't happen to us. Inverness, they were in top flight for many years, and they've been down there. Well, they're almost basically considered a lower league club now, even though they were in the Premiership for so long. They've got some really good players. Dundee have been down for a couple of seasons now. They've not managed to get back up, and that would be massive. And when you think of that, and you think of the impact that would have on the fans as well, the ability to attract the fans. Who's going to want to come back and watch Arbroath and Inverness and teams like that at Rugby Park. The season ticket decline would be
huge,
dramatic.
But what I would say is, and it is true, people won't like this, but people do like to watch a winning team. And the sad truth is, if Kilmarnock do go down and start winning games and they're flying, you might find that this stadium will have more than 5,000-6,000 people in here come the last 10, 15 games of the season. You might find that quite easily. But we need to, of course, go down and actually be able to be at that level. And that's no guarantee, as you say. I was speaking to a few people on the building site during the week, Hearts and Hibs fans, because I'm working up in Edinburgh right now. And, they said to me, something, relegation might not be too bad a thing for Kilmarnock. When the Hibs went down, they were a mess. They came back up. They won the Scottish Cup when they were still down there, in fact. And they came back, built a good team and came up. And now look at them. Hearts, initially, when they went down, for obviously financial reasons, they came back up. And for a wee while, they were playing well as well. They looked good. But I made the argument to them. I says, listen,
it's not
it's not a comparison, is it?
No.
We're closer to the level of Falkirk in terms of fan base and Partick Thistle than we are anywhere near Hearts and Hibs. But these people just look at Kilmarnock and go, they've been in the league that long. Falkirk and Partick, they've up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
So maybe they're looking at it that way, just for pure stature and the fact we've been there that long. But that's not what you need to do. You need to look at the actual maths, look at the fan base, look at the season ticket holders. Hearts and Hibs are a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, they're four times the size of ourselves. So it's not comparable.
Exactly.
At all. And I get what you're saying about a winning team, attracting fans, but I'm not entirely sure how.
We would be a winning team.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's no guarantee of that either. So we can't afford to get relegated. It's as simple as that, especially not in the current times where there's no fans, at all. I think we've been concerned enough about the financials this season playing in the Premiership, but if the no fans continues for into next season, then it's going to cause real problems. And we've seen what happens when a big club in the Premiership can't sustain, the financial situation that it's on, and they died.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, there's so many other negatives. Like, I don't know if you agree with this, but when I look at the Scottish media, already we find ourselves in the shade of the old firm. See, when you're in the Championship, there's no sports scene highlights. You're not in FIFA. You're a non-entity.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares. You read the paper. There's barely any. There's like a bit that size about the game.
Yeah.
Like
and
there's nothing on the BBC website. There's nothing on any website anywhere. It's just.
And that's a massive knock-on effect.
Huge.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's huge. That as well. And that's a big thing.
You can't attract good players because nobody knows. There's nothing about you. Online. There's nothing on the BBC, as you say. There's no highlights. In FIFA. I don't know how many players these days think about signing for a club and they go onto FIFA and go, this is what the team's like. But it's might be.
That's not. I wasn't really getting at it that way. It just shows you how dropping from the Premier Division in Scotland to the Championship.
Yeah, it's a massive difference.
It's a massive difference in the way it affects you. Like even something as trivial as not being in FIFA, but do you know where I'm coming from?
And it's so hard to reach that stature again. As you're saying, obviously Kilmarnock will always be a big club, considered a big club. But if they go down, as you say, very quickly that can diminish. And You see here, there's a decent amount of people in the stadium, today, the media and what like. But if we go down to the Championship, they're all going to disappear, and it'll be very limited because nobody's that interested about the Championship. That's not where the interest lies, where the attention lies. So going down would be, it'd be absolute disaster.
Yeah, it would be.